Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm sitting in my normal coaching Zoom room, and I'm like, where is everybody? What's going on? Where is everybody? And then I realized that we're in a different Zoom room, thanks to Founders Institute. So I am allowing people in. So again, welcome, welcome. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a couple what we call automations. The word for them now is agents, and we're going to look at two agents plus an extra bonus tip, right? Because when we're looking at operations and customer loyalty, that's really the focus with operations and customer loyalty. We're looking at four different really things. One is improving your product. Having the best product out there is great, but people are always, others, competitors, always, trying to get better. People want more. And the key, though, is to continually tinker with it and make it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Right? That's the first thing. The second is we're going to look at how to improve. Well, I shouldn't say we're not going to, but we're going to create an automation that actually explores how to improve. Right? And how to improve delivery, working together with your client. And these all four of these steps imply that you are talking to your client on a regular basis. But that's the key, and that's the secret ingredient that I have for you. Okay? That's to tease you to make you stay a little bit longer. All right. So then, so that's two. Number three is making sure that the product that you offer fits the client. And this doesn't mean we're going to change the product, but we want to make sure and continually test. And this is what the AI can do for us. It can look in the background. It can say, is this right? And it's always investigating on how to make sure, or just to make sure that the product fits the ultimate client or customer, or that you can adapt it enough to where they're always going to be happy. In fact, so happy that they tell their friends. And that's what we want to do. Then the third thing, or the fourth, is to make sure all of our promotional materials are under promising so we can over deliver. Because if we start doing too much, and I'm very guilty of this, I'm like, oh yeah, we can do this, we can do that. And then that's not what I do, because putting it down on paper, putting it into a blog is very different than actually delivering it. And so that's what we're looking at today. And so you guys are in for a treat. Just a little bit about the timeline. We will be looking at these flows for, Marcus, sorry, Marcus, didn't realize somebody was in the waiting room. We're going to look at these flows for a little bit, and then the Fathom recordings and the Zoom recordings. For those of you who signed up, you get access to them, no problem. Later on, I will give you a form to fill out so you can get access to all of the previous workshops materials. We record every workshop, and we have the materials there for you, so that when you want to, you can go back in, put these automations together. Okay, and in the end, you are going to be more productive. That's the point. Okay. Now, how much more productive? Well, I saw an organization who does, kind of back office automation. Cecilia, and they estimated it about 8 to 10 hours a week. Okay. For the things that I'm going to demonstrate today, my estimation is because it's only 2 out of 4 major steps. And so, nice picture. Okay. Hi, Cecilia. Welcome. And so, it's going to be about 2 hours a week, depending on how much you want to add to it. Okay. The 2 major workflows that we're going to look at, the 2 agents are, one is an onboarding. So an onboarding agent is a way to I need to, a way for you, apologies, so a way for you to make it a smooth transition for the client so that the client gets welcomed. You're sending them the email, and I'll show you how you can actually send them a document. And for me, I'm going to demonstrate a professional service, okay, that of a startup or small business coach, because that's the best way I can demonstrate, because that's part of what I do. Most of the time, I'm out there starting a company, and I'll tell you more about my latest little idea in a little bit. Don't be stealing my idea, right? But if it's really good, it'll work. Okay, not from me, not from you, but ideas are a dime a dozen. And the longer I'm in Founders Institute, the more I realize that if you got a good idea, tell everybody, because nobody cares. It's not the idea that's going to be successful. It's the determination of the founder or the co-founder, founder and the co-founders. Right. So that's really what we want to do, is make sure that we've got that kind of determination. Okay. All right. So, and now I've got him there. I'm going to start sharing screens. When I use the Founders Institute, they don't give me the whole screen. So at this point, I'm going to share, and I'm going to kind of give away some of try not to let you guys see that. Okay. That camera. So if any of you have known this is n8n, and I will demonstrate some of the client automotive onboarding system. We talked in the past about digital signal capture and qualification. What we want to do in a business is not serve everyone. We want to have more people competing for what we offer than we have capacity to do it. That in itself makes you more valuable. Okay? Now, how valuable is something? It's only as valuable as the people who want it. And if two people are competing for something, it now has more value. Okay? Look at Google. They were fighting with Facebook for WhatsApp, right? They were both in competition to get that. And then, WhatsApp was sitting in a nice little space. Yay, we've got it. And now WhatsApp is worth, was sold. I shouldn't say now, back in the day, it was sold for $19 billion. Was it worth that much? I suppose. I don't know. But because two people or two companies were fighting over it. That's where, my undergraduate degree was economics. Okay, don't tell anybody. And that supply and demand with two people fighting for something is where we want to be. And we want to do that by offering incredible customer service. Meaning, when we get a customer, is it, how can we improve the product? How can we improve delivery? How can we improve, making sure it fits? Or does it fit for other people? Or other types of customers? And then finally, do our promotional materials fit what we can deliver? Because if you slip off on any of those, you're getting that negative. Okay. And this is what we're trying to, we want that loyal customer. That's where we want to be. And so that's what we're going to focus on. Okay. So onboarding 1.2. Okay. So the first thing we're going to look at is onboarding. And somewhere around here, I have a form for this. And there we go. Okay. Let me share it with you. Okay, so here I have an onboarding form. Ooh-ah. So this is say I talk to a client, get the client, she or he and I sit down and we go through all of the details. Is this right? I mean, like, what is the pain that she or he has? And we'll just go with he. What is the problem that he wants to solve? And most of the time lately, it's I'm going to use the example of automation. Right? My coaching clients, our startup founders, Founders Institute is has very heavily moved to automation. And when you join the Founders Institute, you will be using these automation tools all the way through because they work. Okay. And for a startup founder, you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of extra time. And it's a money suck. Sorry. It sucks your money when you are paying for these platforms that help you run your business. Okay. Because if you can do most of it on your own, just by setting up a few agents, now you are saving that $20 here. And I'm using US dollars, $24 there, $30 here, $50 there a month, because those little costs, they do suck. They suck a lot out of it, and we don't want that. Right? So we use this form. We get the information. We get the Telegram number, and Telegram is a little complicated. We get current challenges, their goals, and additional info. Right. So now we've got that information, and then once they hit submit, we have a Google Sheets trigger. Okay. So there's a Google Sheets trigger, and all it does is just grab that information, and boom, it goes in there. Okay. So here's the onboarding. Here's the trigger, and I used me as an example. Okay, because I'm not going to show you my info. You guys wanting to see, it's late like usual. All right. So if anybody, I don't know if you would do you any good, but let me know if there's somebody not waiting room, as if you guys can see it. All right. So here's my data. This is my work, timestamp. What's the business type? Coach, need automation. What are key roles as leadership, marketing, operations, and finance? When I say key roles, in the last 2 sessions, we talked about leadership and marketing. Today, we're talking about operations. Next week, we're talking about finance. This is imagine that if you had a large crew, today we're going over a lot of what your head of operations would be doing. Okay. You have a director of operations in your company. This is what she/he would be taking care of as you go through. I'm going to tell them I'm already getting parched, so I'm going to have to get my drink here. So on a daily basis. Now, you say, well, what if I hire an operations person in the future? That's the beauty of these agents. That operations person can step right in and know what's happening, how it's happening, who are the people, what are the steps of operations, and they'll know those 4 main steps that we talked about a little bit ago, and that's what we're focusing on. Okay, so and there we go. Now, how many of you use Fathom? Raise your hands. I don't know. Well, Fathom is our target for today. Not that Fathom is super great or the best one, but they have a really good, inexpensive plan. And I'm using a pro plan, and that's a key because I do a lot of Fathom. Okay, as a coach, as a mentor for Founders Institute, I spend a lot of time on Fathom, and it's just been a lifesaver. So, and it's very, very helpful. Okay, so a founder says, hey, I'm ready to join. So then I have them fill out the form. Then that form goes into the workflow. So the first thing it does is in my in my Gmail or Drive, it creates a client folder. Okay. So now, as a client, I will, and I'm going to give them, you'll see that I'll give them access to this folder. This is brilliant because now I already have a place for working documents, shared documents, uploads, downloads for that client before they even walk in the door, right? I'm already putting their coaching agreement in there. And any time that we are sharing any kind of files, it's there from the get-go. When we talk about smoothness, we're going to talk about the net promoter score, meaning how, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would your customers score? How would your customers score you? We want them to be 8, 9, or 10. Okay, because that's free advertising. That's telling them, hey, go talk to Warren if you want to automate, right? Okay, so that's where we're going. And so we have the create, the step, the Google Sheets trigger, and then we're going to create the folder. Folders in there. In my drive. So my drive. There's the folder because it's the person's name. Then we're going to, I'm going to give them my business coaching agreement template. So now we'll put their name on there and, it'll give them a coaching agreement. Why is all this so important? I mean, like you could spend a ton of money on HubSpot for a CRM, but do you need that as a small or a startup business? Yes, later on, you probably will. But at first, you don't. And with these automations, you can save. I mean, like, other than the fact that I have, I signed up with HubSpot years ago. I still haven't been able to use it. I'm kind of a smart guy, but I'm a solo entrepreneur. So I don't have this team and I don't have some, an assistant to go run off and spend 2 weeks and figure it out. So this is part of what I'm trying to help you guys avoid. Okay, so now this next step, I share the folder with a client and then I do a welcome email, right? Now I'm sending them an email and get it up here. Okay, so some of this is code, and users will recognize HTML, but welcome their name, okay? And thrilled to have you coaching on my coaching journey. Okay, we're going to schedule. I'm going to ask you to schedule an onboarding call. This is my scheduler. Okay, so now I'm saying, we already talked. They probably have my scheduler anyway, but now they, but the main thing is all of this is done, and so. And some of you will probably balk at what I'm going to say with the next workflow, but we'll get there. But all of this is done smoothly. It's when they come on, suddenly they have a drive. They suddenly have their coaching agreement. They have everything they need from the get-go, okay, for you to work with them. Now, some of you may have a little less hands-on. One of my clients is doing an online platform, which is kind of digital marketing with AI and sports. Okay, brilliant idea, but he's more of less hand holding for vast majority of his clients because he's going for scale. But there are some of his clients who he wants to train and certify on his platform so he can offer them as experts. And they can coach and support some of the other people who join his platform. So now he's creating a marketplace. Great. Well, something like this is going to be what he wants to use to onboard those new clients, right? So the next one, what we're doing is we combined the two branches, and I'll tell you about that in a bit. But we have a Telegram account where we are sending a Telegram message to the team, my whole team. Since it's me and my assistant, who is now in the Philippines. Okay, so now, but we both are part of that group. We'll send it in there, and it will send, and this is the chat ID for that group. So, and that's this Telegram account. And by the way, yes, I have a whole bunch of Telegram accounts because I have lots of bots. And if any of you are wondering, wow, that's so many, but it's not really. Okay. Then we move to this new thing in n8n is what we call a data table. Okay, so in a data table, this one will insert a role for every one of my clients. Okay, and why this is so important is it's very fast. It's in n8n, and I can use these automatically across different workflows. So once I bring someone on, they are input into my customer workflow, and they're there. And I can now use that same workflow as a database and then keep going, and keep going. Now, I also will put them into a spreadsheet, the one you guys saw before. Remember? You saw me? Oh, yeah, right here. All right. So they saw the spreadsheet, and and I missed the, so here's timestamp, me automate those 4 steps. Then we've had AI create a summary. The summary, automation across our business, primary goals, strategy, automate, leadership, marketing, operations, and finance. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. So, but remember, I got this. Where's my workflow? Yeah. No, not there. Here. As a Telegram. So I sent a Telegram to the team, but we also have a record in the background. The reason we do these 2 steps, one is so this can be used across different workflows. And this one is more reporting that I can look at on an ongoing basis. And these are both key. And something that, in general, if you are using, Stephen, if you are using automations, make them bite-sized. Okay? If you start saying, I want to automate this, and then I want this step and this step and this step, keep them separate. That's a $100 tip there for you. And why is that so important? Because if you can keep them separate, then they can be more, if something breaks or you want to adjust one thing, you just go into that one automation. They can talk to each other. All right? Like this is going to send, when this is updated, it will send a message to another automation that will continue to keep track of that client. Okay. And so that's where we use that. Excuse me. Okay. So if any of you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Let's see the chat. Where's my chat? All right. Oh, by the way, last week, my hard drive crashed. And when was the last time you heard somebody have a hard drive crash? It still happens. Most of my content is on the cloud anyway, so it didn't matter that much. But there were a few things that I had on my hard drive that, so back up. There's only, the funny thing is a couple hundred megabytes, a lot of pictures and screenshots. That was it. But there you go. Okay. So this is the onboarding, making that onboarding smooth. You just create a folder, add a document to the folder. Let me get the document. Okay. So here is the document. So boom, it gets put into the folder, put in the document, and ooh, ah, right? So me running that, where's my, let's see. So here is my drive. I have my, sorry, you can't see that. Okay. So in my drive, I have my current coaching clients folder, and then I have the RW folder. Remember, that's the name I put in. My business coaching agreement. This is it. Okay? Now I have in there, and if you have an enterprise account, which this account is just my regular Gmail account, but I do have an enterprise one, and this is a demo account for you guys. So I'm not going to show you mine, all my good stuff. But that enterprise account, you can add signatures. So you can insert signature. So you can insert the signatures, names, dates, other fields. So just like with DocuSign, you can add those in there. Put them in there. Ground rules. And this is how you pay me. If you guys want to send me money, go ahead, take a screenshot of this, and we can do it. So, yeah. And then due date, which is to be confirmed, which is like a lot of things. What day you start, what day you end. But this is all there. It's in the document or in the drive. And this is where I will share files with my client throughout the relationship. If I ever need anything, then boom, this is where I'll go to get it. Okay. And I'm trying to see, somebody said, we also add attachments in email, which we make as Excel sheets. The question was, can we do attachments in email that you make as Excel sheets? If it was me, I would just put them into here, right? So instead of just right here, I'm making a drive folder, and then, oh no, wait for it. So we create the folder, then we add a sheet to the drive. Okay, well, there's a drive. Then we assign the folder, and we put in the onboarding. See, this is a coaching agreement. You can add as many files as you want. You don't need to add them to your email. And this is something that, for those of us who grew up with email, it's kind of hard not to think about this. But email is effective, and many people use it. But do we need to be sending that email? That's what AI is all about. If you're doing something over and over and over, A, do you need to be doing it? And B, is there a way AI can take care of it? Because many of these companies like HubSpot and Honeybook, they help you run your business. They offer all of these different features and benefits and all of this stuff to make it seem like that you really want to and need to pay the money. It's good. It's great. But in the end, you're only going to use 2, 3, 4, maybe 5% of what they give you. And which kind of leads me to my automation idea, and that is to use Telegram. And basically, we're creating a mini app on Telegram that can help small business owners run their business from their phone. Just using your phone, and basically we create a game-like environment where, just a tap, 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 and oh, you build a mini app too? Hey, let's talk. Okay. I'm going to share my info with you guys a little bit later. Thank you for reminding me. And so when we, that mini app, and it's free or very low cost. And so as a small business owner, if you can use something like a mini app to run your business, it's always in your hand, very clear. And, yes, you can use it on your computer, but it's fast, easy, and effective. That's what we want as a business owner. And, I often get small business owners that ask me, but I do this extra thing and I do that extra thing that we're not automating. And I can't say it won't happen, but so far, every time it has happened, where they say, I want this feature, going through it after me asking them a few questions, they realize that is a feature that's not adding any value and that's taking a lot of time. do you even need to be doing it? And fully, like I said, every time someone's asked for a feature outside of what we talk about, it hasn't been, and then in the end, they're like, oh, yeah, I don't need that. Okay. So this is our thing. Oh, yeah. And generate the summary. So what this does is it takes the client name information, the current challenges, and their goals, and it creates a summary, provides a 2 to 3 sentence summary highlighting our key challenges and goals. Ooh, ah. And then this is what that summary looks like. New client onboarded, and why it doesn't have my email there, don't know. But here's my new Drive folder for me. And that's how we're going to share it. And it also sends this in Telegram. So, and that's the beauty of that automation. Okay. So the next automation I'm going to show you is one I made it intentionally so that we could actually, demonstrate some of the ways that we, okay, let's see. So here, this is a manual, and what it does is it's set up to send an email. Okay. And then send an email after 3 days. Okay. Why it says 10 seconds. All right. So here, there's nothing in the trigger, but then here is, and I have my little cheat sheet. There we go. So I'm going to show now. When I first found this, I found some guy on the internet who said, just do this and this, and you can download your Fathom, and then you can pull it into n8n, and it works just fine. Well, it didn't work just fine. It turns out that he had Zapier and 2 other apps that, again, 2 other platforms that he's paying for. One to summarize it, one to download it, one to zap it over. So I'm working on it with my assistant and a friend of mine. By the way, one of the things I learned in Founders Institute was before I joined Founders Institute, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I was trying a new thing. I always have a new business idea. But I realized that if I had a problem before, I had a problem. But once I joined Founders Institute, because in Founders Institute, you're supposed to go talk to other people, right? You are assigned to go talk to other mentors at least once a week, twice a week. Okay. And I found that was, oh, wow, people like to help. And they do. And after I finished Founders Institute, I was still reaching out to them, and still to this day. But I also noticed that I'm reaching out to a lot more people because people want to help. And that makes them feel good. So anyway, back to my client name. I'm going to just use my middle name. Then I use my Gmail account. And then today's date. And then I'm pasting the Fathom summary here because somehow it died from, there we go. Normally, and by the time we watch this next time, it will not be there. And then we also have I get a kick out of all these people on the internet who can type and talk. I know a lot of them don't, but okay. So here's my action steps. So we're going to paste our action steps in here. It says paste 1 per line, but and then my Fathom video is where? Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. I just clicked the wrong place. So this is the Fathom video link. And yeah, so I can't wait to, while we're waiting for that to fill out, I'm going to, so here is my link. Okay, so then there we go. We got that summary. And over here, you can see that there is my summary. And here are my next steps, action steps, and then a link to the summary video. And this will go out to the client right away. Right? Boom, there you go. Then there's body, background, HTML, but it will send out the summary and the next steps. Well, and then right now it's got, then I'm going to make it 3 days. And in 3 days, it will then send out a follow-up, just checking on your progress. The same thing, okay? Where's my email? There we go. All right, email. And there you go. There is an email and all the email formatting. So, all right, then it sends it out. Boom, boom, shakalaka, boom. Right. So now, some of you are saying, well, I run a service business. I'm not like a coach. I don't talk to my clients every day or once a week. But imagine with AI, you are now automating all of these steps. And when you automate all these steps, now you have time to do that. In fact, you need to be doing that more than ever. And so, remember, I told you that I was going to show and share with you my secret ingredient. Okay, that secret ingredient is, well, where is it? Oh, the secret ingredient is the roles that your head of operations agent will be taken care of. And so we have the key person of influence. Right? We did that 2 weeks ago. Then head of sales and marketing. Right? These are department heads, agents. So if you don't have the people, like Cecilia, she has signed up for the KPI, key person of influence, and she will be going through that in December, whenever you're ready, Cecilia. And so if any of you are interested, let me know, because this, the 4 pillars of ops analysis, I take this and I add it to Fathom. Okay. And in Fathom, with the Pro, you can do chronological, Q&A, customer success, one-on-one, reach, or even a candidate interview. And it will summarize them differently. Or you can do like what I've done. And so do a complete general summary, including action steps. Okay. Then act as a senior ops analyst. Review transcripts, generate for and improve. Let me just arrow this down. Improve product. Okay. Identify places we can improve. Okay. Then improve system, delivery, efficiency, logistics, floppy systems. So what is it doing? You go in and because you have automation working on everything else, you're spending every week, you're making a call to those clients. Okay. And these are, they're not just digital marketing clients where you want 200,000 of them, but these are your bigger clients that represent quite a bit of income. Okay. So every week you're going to be doing that. And then you summarize this call, okay, and improve the systems. All I do is just pop this in the summary and then regenerate. And boom, there you go. Okay. So, okay. I thought somebody gave me a chat. Then refine the target market and extract feedback. Basically, it's going to pick through your discussion and look for these details. Okay, this is the $1 million aha. When I first started doing automations, this isn't something that you really think, oh, well, AI can help me with that. But this is what AI is best at. Not doing the things that you normally do, but it's doing that extra little step so you can add more value to those things that you normally do. You need to talk to customers every week, right? Some of you talk to them much more than that. But if you can get AI to now extract more data, okay, and so things like refine expectations, analyze alignment, sales, marketing, promises, ops, delivery. You want to highlight any preposterous claims, highlight explanation, expectations, anything where the client isn't exactly aligned. Because in all of these, okay, this is when you want someone, what we call that net promoter score. We want that to be in the top. Most of the Fortune 1,000 companies in the world, they use that net promoter score. Okay, if you're not getting a 7 out of 10, you're losing money because people are saying, I'm not going to promote, I'm not going to refer you. Okay, so why isn't it a net referral score? NFR, NFS, don't know. Anyway, so now there we go. We have that. And here we have the purpose, the key takeaways, operational analysis. Here we go. Skills for, proprietary agents, human in the loop. Okay, improve system delivery. You're just talking to your customer about the content, what they're doing. How are we getting rid of bottlenecks, scaling an advisor role in the model, proprietary platform, and then down here we're redefining the target. Is our target the best target? I know I fall in love with my product, I fall in love with my service, and I fall in love with my customers, but what if there's a better one? And that's what you're looking for. So this isn't something that all day, every day you're going to be looking at, but now it's refining those expectations. Do we have a better way to do things? Can we promote a coach versus an AI bot in a situation where, just like what we're talking about is, I'm adding my regular coaching clients. It's now turned more into automation. Because I was a founder, startup, small business coach, in between starting up all these businesses, and then now it's become much more of an automation. So again, you guys want to talk to me about that, please share. And if any of you reach out to me, if you have any questions, comments, yeah, but what if? And here's my LinkedIn again. Here, I'll just get all of this and reach out. If you know someone who missed tonight and they need automations, if any of you are thinking about, I want to start that business, or how do I build my ecosystem? That's Founders Institute. Okay, that's why we do what we do. Okay, and that's why I do all this. Am I getting paid for this? Yeah, I'd like to think someday I'm going to help some, startup go unicorn and be the next Facebook. But, until that happens, I'm pretty good just helping out, right? And that's that contribution. That does feel good. So anyway, talk to you all soon. Goodbye, good luck. Thank you very much for joining. And we will see you in 2 weeks when we start looking at finance. We're going to automate the financial side. And I know how most of you, most founders I know, not big fans of that financial side. And so we're going to try to get as much of that automated so you can have up to minute reporting on autopilot, meaning at the end of the week, you know exactly where you are automatically. And that's that key, beautiful thing. But that's 2 weeks, and that's session 9 out of the 12. So take care, goodbye, good luck, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye now.